Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Ian Cook from the awesome band Beyond the Lamplight. Welcome to the show, Ian. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. When we find things that pique our interest, first thing I do is I heard the single Shelter that was released in December, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And so then I went back and listened to your EP and then followed you all the way back to Larry and His Flask, and I'm like, fucking hey, how did I not know about this stuff before? So I'm glad to have you here and talk about music.
Nice, man.
So why don't you give us a little bit of background about Beyond the Lamplight, how that all came about?
Well, it was kind of it kind of came out of COVID, really. I mean, it was, I guess I'd have to preface it all by saying that Larry and His Flask, the previous band, is kind of where the sound originated, I suppose. In a way, we were a band for 15 years or so, toured all over the place, did a bunch of stuff, recorded some records, had some fun. But we kind of reached a point where it wasn't really working anymore, and I just kind of wanted to continue on in that vein. And Andrew Carew, the banjo player, who's also in Beyond the Lamplight, was also in Larry and His Flask as well, and he was like a co-songwriter too. So him and I have remained friends through everything, and I just hit him up. I had written a couple songs that were kind of in that vein, and I was like, hey man, what do you think about kind of doing it kind of putting things back together with some other guys and just kind of like seeing what happens. And it was all just kind of born out of boredom, really, because I didn't have a whole lot going on during COVID, as everybody didn't in the music industry for the most part. So yeah, it just kind of happened naturally. It was just kind of a handful of songs that I had kind of cultivated. We congregated in our buddy's studio, who's also our drummer, Dane, and we just kind of started banging the tunes out and just trying to, get them together. And it just kind of was a natural process, and here we are.
Yeah, and I mean, if you watch your videos that you have out there on YouTube, session that was recorded, I mean, you can see that the love is there and for the music, and you're just having so much fun doing it, which is just a great thing to see when it comes to creating new music and being at it for a long time and still having that love for it. It comes through, especially in those videos that I got to see.
Yeah, it's always been like my ethos and our ethos as a band, even since the very beginning with Larry and then into this band. It's all about fun, man. I mean, like, if you're not having fun, then what the fuck are you doing? And if you're not having fun, then don't do it. It's like, if I'm here to spread what I do with other people, and hopefully people enjoy that, and I'm going to do everything I can to help people enjoy that as much as they possibly can, and that makes me happy. So it's all about the infectious energy, just getting people involved, I think, and forgetting about, like, breaking the fourth wall, and forgetting about, like, this is the stage and that is the crowd. It's like, we're all fucking here in this one room. You're like, you can smell me. I'm this close to you. Like, let's have a good time.
Just sweat on you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's have a good time together. It's not about us doing our thing. It's about all of us doing it together,
Yeah. Now, how would you describe what you're, and I'm only doing this for listeners when they try to figure out, because everything is genre labeled and subgenres and genres inside genres. What would you call yourself if someone asked?
I think the easy answer is just kind of like folk punk, folk rock kind of stuff, I suppose. Like, you could break it down to, like, the tiny minute details, like, what, I don't know, bluegrass punk, or I don't. It's hard because it walks a fine line between a lot of different genres. But I usually just say we're a rock band with a banjo, and that probably gets the idea across.
Now, when it comes to that style of music and that type of music, what was that you fell in love with about it? I mean, because it is, you kind of said it has that punk rock tinge, and I'm like, I try to say to somebody when I described you, I was like, it's punk rock with a banjo. Like, that's, yeah. And that's where it was. What brought you to that feeling and that love of that style of music?
Well, I mean, we grew up in the punk. I came up in the punk scene locally. We all did. And this is going all the way back to Larry and His Flask, kind of way back in, long time ago, 20 years ago. And yeah, we grew up in a small scene that was rife with tons of punk bands. And Larry and His Flask started out as just a straight four-piece punk band, like, just a electric, in your face, screaming our asses off kind of band. And we loved that energy. But as we got older, I think that I always describe it to people like the deeper you get into music, the farther you go back into history. Kind of, it's like, it's kind of takes you back by getting deeper and deeper into music. You go back to the origins of everything. And that kind of happened to us at a certain point when we all reached a certain age, and we wanted to get a little bit deeper into, like, where this all came from, and getting into, old traditional folk music and bluegrass and early American music and early blues, and stuff like that was something that really caught our ear and this is when we were probably in our early 20s. And but we wanted to infuse it with the ferocious punk rock spirit all at the same time. And so we broke it all the way down to a fully acoustic band, and then just started adding pieces of punk rock into that. So it was we kind of went bass backwards with it. We unplugged everything and then rebuilt it into something totally new by adding electric bits along the way, until it kind of became this what it is now, which is this weird amalgamation of stuff. And then while also like treading different genres, like with the horns, we had our banjo player also plays trombone, and our then mandolin player in Larry played trumpet. So we would do big horn breaks that were influenced by swing and stuff like that. And like that would have we'd have a lot of different elements that we throw in there, gypsy jazz and a lot of different stuff. So it was just kind of like became a melting pot for everything, but all underpinned by that punk rock spirit and ethos, where we're just going at it and going crazy. So
yeah, it's music that can be set up in a barn, but you don't want it there for too long because there's too much wood and too much hay, and as fast as you guys play, you'd burn it down.
Yeah.
It'd be that real sense of a barn burner of a band.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like where I place it. Like I can picture myself like hearing your music, and I can see you on stage like performing in a barn, and then it's all of a sudden like, okay, we got to get out because they just played too fast, it started on fire, but now you're going on a stage in a club somewhere, and it's like it fits perfectly there too.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that we really want to be translatable in a lot of different scenarios, and it has ended up that way. Like we could open for any band, like it's like we can span a ton of different types of like vibes if we want to. And that we like it that way, and we have a very diverse fan base because of that, which is really nice. It's a niche genre, but it makes it a little wider,
Yeah.
to be able to do different things.
Yeah, the way you sound, and even with the songs you have out now, I can hear the differences in basically every song that will lend itself to a different genre, to opening yourself up to other bands and to perform with them, and to open yourself up to newer fans, and so they can be like, wow, I really like this, and they can learn to love it, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah. We like to be able to do lots of different things. Like, for example, the newest single, "Shelter," is kind of a departure for us as far as like the vibe of the song.
It's very rocket. It's like it's like a rock song. Yeah,
it's like a really anthemic, super sing-alongable rock song.
Yeah,
and that's, and that's something that was kind of new for us. But it was like we wrote. I wrote it. I brought it to the guys. I'm like, what do you guys think? Let's do it. And everybody was down. So it just happened to work, and we were like, you know what, we can do this, and we can do, turn around and do a 12-bar blues barn burner right afterwards, and like, who fucking cares, man? There's no rules.
There are no rules, and if you try to contain yourself with rules, you end up creating the same songs over and over again, and then you're pigeonholed for life, and then you quit and give up because everybody's tired of you. So
exactly. Yeah.
You spoke about going back and like being in your 20s and going back and finding all this music in your life. What was it that brought you to music? There's, for me, it was 6-year-old kid. I heard the Beach Boys for the first time, and my life changed forever. And what was it for you growing up that just brought you into music that you're like, this is going to be a part of my life forever?
It was I definitely have to say my dad, my family in general. We very musical household. My dad was a player and a singer songwriter from the 60s all through the 70s. He was a country singer all through the 70s, had his own band and everything, and toured around, played around, taught me how to play guitar. I started playing guitar when I was 9 years old, really, really pretty young for most kids. And it was just, the Beatles all the way. He was a crazy Beatle head. And so, from the get-go, I was pretty much hooked, and there wasn't anything else that I was going to do. I loved it. He had guitars laying around the house from the day I was born, so they were just there. And then once he taught me how to play, we'd get together on Friday nights or whatever. My mom would go out, see some of her friends, and him and I would stay home and just jam, so I could just kind of learn how to play guitar. And in those early years, my parents would take me to local blues jams at the bars and let me sit in with the bands. And I just kind of cut my teeth playing guitar from the, age 11 to 13 or 14. I was in these bars playing with these dudes, just learning how to play guitar. I started out doing that. And I just loved it. It was all about guitar in the beginning. The songwriting aspect didn't come until much later. But yeah, it was all, I was it was all over from the beginning for the most part. There was no way I wasn't going to be a musician in the type of house that I grew up in.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, when you got to that point, like you said, at around 13, that's some pivotal changes in kids' lives,
Yeah.
and you have to change, and you start to find your own way and find your own music. Was there a specific thing that you found on your own that you attached yourself to at that age?
I would say probably punk rock. I mean that's the age, right? I mean, like once you hit your teens, I mean, at least for my generation, it was that was it. You know, it's like
Yeah,
once you like once you find punk rock when you're 13 or 14, it's like all downhill from there, right? and and that's what happened. You know, I got all the gateway bands got me at first. You know, I was around that age, around year 2000, 99, 2000. So like, Blink 182 was all over the radio, and all that stuff coming up, and growing up with Green Day through the 90s too. And like those gateway bands obviously were there. And then didn't take long for me to find everything after that, like extremely quickly, moving on from band to band, getting deeper and deeper into it. And then I met a group of friends who were actually some of the dudes that formed Larry and his Flask. Um, Even in high school, like I joined that band when I was 16 years old. It started way back when we were in high school. So it was once you fall in with a group of friends that's into the same thing, it just was that was it, man. I was into punk and metal as well. Being a guitarist, and for my age at 14, I was a pretty advanced guitar player for that age, because I'd started when I was 9 or so, and kind of started playing more guitar heavy stuff from the beginning. I was kind of a blues player, so I could I could get around a little bit more than other kids. So punk,
you already had the licks down.
yeah, so punk wasn't quite enough for the guitar front for me. So like I really got into metal too, because there was all the shredding.
Yeah.
So it was like hyper aggressive music with a lot of guitar. I love that as well. So it was just kind of everything aggressive, just like was like an avalanche when I turned like 13 or 14. I just couldn't get enough of it.
So was Larry and his Flask your first band, or were you in a band prior to that? That you were primarily, when you call you, and I'll put it this way: when you're a teenager and you meet up with a group of friends and you play once in a garage, the most important thing is the name of the band.
Yeah.
So yeah, did you have any of those types of things?
Yeah, there was a few things that I would barely call bands, really, because we didn't really ever play any shows. There was like, I think that 8th grade talent show, my band played some Blink 182 cover or something. Embarrassingly, I'll say that. I'll admit it.
What was the name of that band?
It was, I don't even remember. We wavered like all the way up until the performance, and I don't think we actually ever really chose a name. We had because we never could think of one, and so we ended up just saying fuck it, and we just played, and I don't know what we called ourselves, honestly. We were so indecisive. We were just a garage band, we never really thought about it. We were like, hey, we should just play this one song for the thing, and that's all we did. But that's like not really any serious bands before that. I was in a band called Inch High for like 2 seconds. That was early on. We played a couple shows locally. And yeah, that was about it. Yeah. Not a lot happened before that, because I was fairly young when I started jamming with those guys. I was already 15 or 16 when I started jamming with the Larry guys. And yeah, and that way we just kind of stuck together.
When you got your first taste of that, playing live in front of strangers, and I mean, you're doing it at a very young age, having your parents bring you to places to sit in at, was that a trigger too? Were you nervous the first couple times you did it? I can imagine as a child, but you were very well versed at already knowing how to play so much guitar. I mean, was it a seamless transition to perform live for you?
Not really. I would say that I was pretty, I don't remember being like overly nervous at these blues jam things when I was really young. Maybe a little bit here and there. I think the one time that I actually sang my first song in front of people, I did at a blues jam. I sang the Hand Jive, the old blues song, and I remember I was maybe 10 or something. It was like the first time I got in front of a crowd and sang into a microphone and played guitar. And I remember being insanely nervous before that. I've never been as nervous to just get up and play some guitar because it's just something that came pretty natural after a certain point. But I definitely, once I started singing in front of people, then it became more of an issue, I would say. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of a natural progression. I did it sparingly, and then it just kind of grew the amounts of performances that I was doing, and it just kind of bloomed from there as far as getting used to that. But yeah.
You have a performance that stands out in your life for good or bad reasons?
uh, probably. Uh, I mean, bad reasons. I mean, that's a whole can of worms there as far as how deep that well goes. I mean, we've all had shitty, crazy, weird performances, but those are just situational. They're not really. I mean, as far as like ones that really stand out, a lot of the big standouts are like the big moments of triumph, like we did in 2011, Larry and his Flask did, the Warped Tour. We did the whole thing, and we were we were opening the main stage. And I just remember we played it in Detroit. We opened at that one, and it was the first time we played in front of that many people ever. It was like 5,000 people watching us play or whatever. And we were like, oh my God, this is insane, Or like we went on tour with Dropkick Murphys in 2010, and we opened up for a room that was like 4,000 people, and it was like, oh my God, like just playing in front of the seas of people was definitely our milestone shows, or like the first time we toured Europe, like we're like, oh my God, this is incredible. I can't believe we get to do this. That kind of stuff. Definitely the positive stuff is all that. The accomplishments, I think.
Yeah. Easier to talk about too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was some weird shit. I mean, we played just some of the most awkward little shows and like house parties and shit that were like, what are we doing here? Kind of stuff. But like I try not to I don't remember that. I try not to remember too many of the details and just kind of block it out. But
growing up, what was do you remember the first time you saw live music or first concert? I would imagine your parents dragged you to something when you were younger. Do you remember your first concert ever?
Yeah. Well, maybe not my first concert ever. I know I went to some stuff when I was really, really little. First one that I really remember going to was Willie Nelson. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
my first one was Kenny Rogers. So
hell yeah, yeah. So like I remember going to Willie Nelson when I was I was probably, I don't know, 7 or 8, something like that. It was before I started playing guitar, I'm pretty sure. But it was but yeah, it was a life-changing experience. It was badass. My parents were in radio after my dad got into music. He got into radio, so like their radio station like sponsored a lot of the local concert series that were around this area, like that came through the fairgrounds or whatever. The radio station would sponsor it.
That's
and so
awesome.
Like they'd have to go and they would, a lot of the times they'd like bring on the acts on stage or whatever. So I'd get to go and watch the show too and hang out while they were there. So I saw a lot of, because they worked at a country radio station. This is a tiny little town that we live in. Big country music audience over here. So they worked at
Bend, Oregon, right?
Yeah, we're in Bend, Oregon, which is
the last Blockbuster.
That's where it is. Yeah. But back in the day, it was definitely a podunk cow town for sure, a lot more than it is these days. And so a lot of country came through during the fairs and the fairgrounds. So I got to see a lot of the old country guys come through. I got to see Waylon Jennings before he died, which was great. Got to see Bobby Bear, all the old like outlaw country guys used to come through a lot. So that was a definitely formative thing.
Yeah, now your music makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what was the first show that you got to choose to go to on your own?
Oh man, I think one of the early ones that I went to was probably one of the local punk shows. just going to see local music. There was a handful of bands that would pass through this area, all that were kind of along the I-5 strip, up and down, either from Portland or down in Medford, which is a town in Southern Oregon. Um, and like a band like Virus 9, as what they were called, they used to come through a lot. They were kind of on the cusp of kind of breaking through on like Hellcat Records kind of thing.
Mhm.
They had been like talking to Tim Armstrong, I think, way back in the day, and they were almost gonna they like almost got there, but everything kind of fell apart for them, I think. But like, I don't know about that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if it fell apart. Sorry, guys. I love you. But they used to come through a lot, and they were a great, great band. They were so fucking rad. And so, there was a local band called the Thought Police. I remember going to one of their shows. There's another band that we grew up alongside called the Kronk Men that are excellent, that are from here. They still play around here a lot. Yeah, just like there was a lot of cool local bands. There was a show every weekend at some empty space people were renting out, and it was madness. There was just punk shows all the time, and I used to go to those. So probably around like 14 years old, 15. I remember going to a VFW hall in Redmond, Oregon, which is actually where I grew up, which is a small, even smaller town that's just north of Bend. At the VFW hall, a band called the Deviates played, and they were awesome. And I remember stage diving for the first time at the VFW hall. And there was like little old ladies selling crackers and shit in the back from off a card table. And they were just appalled. I'm sure that whoever rented that place out never got their deposit back, to say the least. But it was a fucking
Those places were the greatest. I mean, we here in I'm in New Jersey, and like there was a lot at VFWs, but there was also a lot in like church basements, and you would have like the nuns in the back of the room selling, like water and cookies to raise money, and then there's this punk show going on that they have no idea what's about to happen, and it's just like, I
yeah.
can't believe that I went to that church basement more than once.
It
Like,
was insane. Yeah, I mean, they allowed that to happen. I think, like the churches were the funniest, because I think they kept allowing it because they were hoping that some sort of evangelical thing would happen, and they'd like hook somebody in, but it never fucking happened. Everybody was hammered drunk, like just destroying the place. Like, okay, cool. If you'll keep letting us come here and play shows, then fuck yeah, Mister.
and I miss those days being an old man now. Like I remember them so vividly and fondly, and like how we were able to get away at doing the stuff we did in those VFWs and those, churches, and
Yeah.
to still be here and talk about music after that, it's just amazing.
I've seen there's some crazy fucked up shit went down at some of those shows, and I'm so glad I made it out alive. But I do look back at them fondly, for sure. And I'm sure if I like showed up, if I could just go back at my age now and just show up at one of those right in the middle of it, I would be appalled
Yeah.
at what was going on. Like I'm too old for that shit these days. But,
There's not a lot that happens like that anymore, because even in the area that I'm in, like I'm right outside of New York City, and I look for like these little tiny local shows that may pop up, and there's like no more. Like
No.
it's not a thing anymore. It's almost like people are just fine making music, on their computer and putting it onto Spotify, and that visceral feeling of playing in a VFW, like you can still rent them. You can still do this, and
It's still there.
yeah, and I don't know why there isn't more of that, or maybe I'm just missing it.
Yeah, I think that I mean, obviously, like you said, it's a combination of things. I think that obviously the online the online streaming service thing, and the being able to make your music at home kind of thing, definitely. I think that also the glory of that kind of thing kind of faded out of the collective consciousness of the culture, as far as like just the idea that like going to a show can change your life is something that you don't even like nobody knows about anymore. Young kids aren't like exposed to that or taught that, or like, it's just kind of like, I don't know, like live music it's the whole face of it has kind of changed as far as like how it's perceived. these days, and what live music is. And it's not so much that life-changing experience thing anymore. It's like the business is so refined, as far as the music business in general, that it's like it's all about, if there is a show, it's like all about how much money you can make when you do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, and that it's way more focused on that these days than it is. Now you have these, even in small towns like this one, you have like these production companies, and they're the only ones that are putting on shows now. But it's like, because they realize they can make money at it, and so it's all like, there's no like kids just like paying $150 for a VFW hall so they can just go scream into a microphone for 2.5 hours in front of their friends just to get it out, because they got shit going on and they want to fucking get it out, and like there was some serious catharsis in that for the youth as well. I think that can't, a little bit of it has been lost. I think.
Yeah, and I think some bands should go back to like the way it was done, and I'll go back to my age of recording on a Tascam 4-track and making a tape, and then putting that tape that you just recorded your songs on into your stereo and making more copies, and then
Yeah.
cheating yourself out of like making copies of the front of the tape at school so you could cut them out and put them in and then hand them out to people. Like that's like I think sometimes the world is missing that.
Yeah, like the legwork aspect of it all is something that taught me a lot. I'm not saying that necessarily the way that things are is bad these days. I think it's amazing that you can get on your computer and build an entire song, and it's like straight up like radio quality, and you can just put it out. It's incredible. Everything at everybody's fingertips now. It is a good thing, but there is something to be said for that old-fashioned legwork of like, hey, I worked really fucking hard to make this, and really hard to get it into your hands so you can go listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, and hopefully that you feel something from it, because I put a lot of hard work into this fucking thing, So like, yeah, I think I agree with you in that. I think that like it could be helpful for certain artists to revisit that and try and make some sort of like real connection to something.
And I appreciate sometimes, like, there's still, I've been to shows where you can see like the opener on a 5-band set, guy's there, he made copies of CDs of his own music and he wrote on them to sell. And I'm like, dude, I appreciate that. I'm going to buy one because I appreciate you put in the work to do that.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a different world for sure. But I think that like life-changing moments can still happen. I think COVID had a lot to do with just the whole landscape as well.
Yeah,
with live music, and even now the ripples have changed kind of.
Well, I've definitely seen it at shows. I'm a constant show goer, and for me, seeing the post-COVID people at shows, like it really, there's a big difference, and people are just saying, we didn't, I guess we didn't promote it as much. No, you promoted it as much as you did back in 2019. It's just for some reason people aren't going out for it, and it's weird to me to go to shows for. I was at a show recently, 3 bands that I absolutely love playing, and they're playing to like 40 of us, and last time I saw them there was 750. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy weird situation. But I think if we just keep chugging along, things will adjust, and we'll get somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I digress.
Just some old fogies going over the
I don't want to sound too much of an old asshole.
Hey, listen, I threw out my Tascam 4-track recorder and making tapes on it. So, I aged myself just fine there. Now, if someone never heard of Beyond the Lamplight, and you had to play them a song of yours to get the best sense of who you are, what song of yours that you currently have out would you play for them?
I would probably play, I don't know, something like, I think What's Done Is Done is probably off of the EP, is probably a pretty good representation of what we do, as far as like all all encompassing. There's a little, it's fast. It has a little bit of a countryish vibe to it, although a lot pretty really melodic with a slow breakdown, some horns in there, little guitar solo. It just kind of has a little bit of everything that we do kind of thrown in there. Yeah, I'd probably say What's Done is Done is probably a good one. Good place to start.
Nice. Now, when it comes to creating music, and you had said that you brought the song Shelter to the guys and you just said, hey, what do you guys think of this? When it comes to writing your music, what's your process in coming up with a new song? I mean, you've been at this for so long. I'm sure it's almost second nature by now, but there's got to be some kind of struggles.
Songwriting process is interesting. I don't know. Like, I've never really found like a serious process that I follow every time for real. Like, a lot of the time I will start with just a little chord progression, and then I'll just kind of start humming a melody, and then I'll just find a quiet spot with my guitar and me, and I'll just start writing lyrics to that I'll just kind of it'll just start pouring out. And a lot of the time I'll sit down and I'll start at the beginning and I'll write the whole song all the way through. And like, usually it's not like lyrics first, song later, or like the whole song completely composed and then I write all the lyrics. It's just I start with a piece, what would be the verse or something, and then I just kind of let it all flow out all at once. It's kind of strange. There's really no rhyme or reason to it at all. Sometimes I'll go back and make edits or whatever, or sometimes I'll write some lyrics beforehand or a little bit or more of the music beforehand, but it's not always that case. And then once I have the full song, I'll usually do an entire demo of it in my own home studio, and I'll send it all out to the guys with all the parts and everything that I've came up with so far. I'll play all the instruments, and I have a little drum programmer thing, and I can program all the drum parts on and everything. And then we get together once everybody kind of gets that in their head. Then we'll get together and kind of jam it all out, and then it changes once it goes through the filter of the band and becomes its own thing, kind of how everybody likes to play their own part and sing their own parts and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I asked because, listening to your songs, I'm one of those people that I'll hear a single instrument, and then next time I listen to it, I hear a different instrument, and then when I listen to it, I listen to just specifically the lyrics. And your lyrics are, deep in undertone, and like there's meaning behind it, and that that's why I asked the question, because they are thoughtful lyrics. They're not just words thrown together to make the song sound right. So
yeah, and like for me, like I have certain lyrical themes. I think I revisit a lot. Life and death being one of them, and like I like to explore deeper things. Sometimes it's not always that. Sometimes it's just like drinking on down. Sometimes it's just about getting hammered.
Yeah, and that's like when I listen to True Redeemer, like I can't tell you how many times you probably got it listened to now on Spotify for me, but just like listening to it, and it just, the lyrics and everything about it, I was like, fuck, I don't know what it is, but this song is just fucking, it's everything I need right now.
Oh man, thank you. And yeah, I mean, that's a weird one too, because like that one in particular, as far as like song, as the lyric, what the lyrics are made up of is a totally fictitious story. I don't know if you've heard the story behind the song at all or anything.
No, I haven't.
It's actually about a serial killer. It's like a fictitious story about a serial killer, and it's about who can't control themselves. And that'll put a new spin on it now that next time you listen to it. Maybe I just ruined it for you. I don't know. But
well, can serial killers ever control themselves?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it's like sometimes rarely I'll write story songs like that, but that one just kind of came out, and I don't know what happened, but it worked. And it is, I would have to say that that's probably my favorite song on the EP personally as well. So good on you for loving that, I guess.
Well, I guess I have a sixth sense. And listen, I'm not going to lie. Did I, back in the day when I was in military, needed something to read, buy the Encyclopedia of Serial Killers to read up on all of them? Yes, I did. I did.
Nice.
So maybe that's why it hits home.
Right on. Well, yeah, there you go.
In your life, do you have a band that you always turn to? It's a band that never lets you down when you need something in your life. Having a good day, you can listen to it. Having a bad day, Rolling Stone will ask, do you have a favorite band? I don't. I look for a band in someone's life that never lets them down.
Yeah, I would probably have to say that's a tough one. I'd probably have to say one of the artists that I return to the most is probably throughout my life. It's probably a guy who goes under the name Owen.
Yeah.
It's Mike Kinsella.
Kinsella. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
American football as well,
Yep.
both. But I listen to a lot of. I always come back to Owen records, and I've always kept up with his career for decades now. Like I've been a huge fan. So he's one that I'll always turn to, and always come back to.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's also a guy that performed at one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, and he's also performed at one of the worst shows I've ever seen. So
Nice.
he's just one. He's one of them.
Yeah,
but he's a brilliant songwriter, singer. I mean, he can do it all.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool to hear. Do you have anything that you listen to that people would be really surprised you get tons of enjoyment out of?
Probably a lot of stuff that people probably would be really surprised. Another one that I constantly return to is Imogen Heap, the British, British electronic pop singer. I listen to her all the time. And then I think that I listen to a lot of jazz too, and crazy weird fusion. Like I listen to Alan Holdsworth, the crazy guitar player. And it's really cheesy 80s fusion, but it's amazing. Yeah, I would probably have to say there's almost everything that I listen to is probably something that people would be surprised I listen to, because I don't listen to a lot of music that would fall under the genre of what we do at all. Not so much anymore. I feel like I used to a lot, but I've always had kind of a different palette of music for the most part. And I try to bring all those influences from all those different places into what we do. So then it gives it a whole new spin, kind of.
Now, listening to all that crazy stuff that you're listening to, we can call them guilty pleasures. Has there been a recent find for you that you've been very excited about, like a newer band or newer artist that you've attached yourself to and just been like, wow, I'm totally digging this?
Yeah, I feel like there's probably several. One that immediately comes to mind, well, actually, now a bunch are flooding into my mind. But one that immediately came to mind is an artist that goes by the name Allie, Allie.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and their record is incredible. It's called Maybe Next Time is the name of the album.
Yep.
And it is an incredible mixture of Midwest emo meets pop meets kind of modern singer-songwriter pop kind of stuff. And it's just so good and just so well done and well formed for a debut record. It's just wow, what an amazing.
Yeah, she's got an amazing voice. And it brings you in. It's hard not to like it.
I know, it's so good. Another one, not so new, I guess. I really like the Beths a lot.
Yeah,
and
New Zealand's finest.
Yeah, White Reaper as well.
Yeah. White Reaper. It's so for White Reaper for me. It's one of those things that I guess I got to get out of my shitty old judgy ways, because when their first album, Greatest American Rock Band, came out, I was like, I was all in. I asked a bunch of friends to go see them with me, and nobody wanted to go, so I went by myself. They fucking kicked ass. And then a year later, my friend's like, "Hey, dude, you want to go see this band, White Reaper?" And I was like, "Fuck you! You're not allowed to like them now. Fuck off, man."
I know. It's it's definitely they're definitely I wouldn't say that they're new now. They definitely have a lot of buzz, and they've become, same thing with the Beths, I feel like, as well. Because I found out about them kind of when they were coming up too. And it was I mean, when music is that good, there's no way it's going to stay quiet. If they work hard and go on tour and spread themselves out there, then they're going to be, popular band, because they're that fucking good, So yeah, those bands are great. Allie. Yeah.
Beth's White Reaper. Yeah, no. Yeah, listen, you picked three good ones to fall in love with that are recent bands. So I appreciate that. And I love that I know them all too. So
yeah, hell yeah.
is there? I mean, you have a wide variety of music you love to listen to. Is there some type of music that you can't listen to or just don't understand?
No, I mean, I don't know. Aside from most of the stuff that I would say I don't listen to are like stuff that's just hard to listen to in general, like smooth jazz, like Kenny G, stuff like that, like kind of like really watered down versions of music. Although I do like a lot of that stuff weirdly too, like almost in a nostalgic way, some of it. But I don't know. I'd say that I'm not super keen on a ton of hip hop. I do like it, but it's really few and far between for me. I'm definitely an older school kind of hip hop guy. If I do listen to it, then I'm more like the classics,
No, I completely understand it. I'm not the new mumble rap stuff. I don't get. I'm a kid who grew up right outside of New York City, so for me, Tribe Called Quest, like that, that old school De La Soul, that was my Nas, all that kind of stuff was my stuff. I came up with, and I'm like, I don't. I guess I don't understand, and I try to. My nephew has been nice enough to be like, dude, you got to listen to this. This is Kendrick Lamar. I think you're going to love it, because I try to instill all the old stuff on him.
Yeah.
And he loves it. And he's like, you got to try this. And then I'll listen to it and be like, no, I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't get what's great about it.
That is another, like, it's a touchy subject because it's a kind of old guy thing, I guess. Like, I feel the kind of the same way. Like I just can't identify with it. And I think that's, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that if you just can't identify with something, that's cool, and that's just where I sit. It's like, it's hard for me to identify with the newer styles of hip hop and everything. And also, I don't come from an urban landscape. I grew up in I grew up in a pretty rural area, and it's like, I just can't relate with a lot of it, I think too, and I think that has a big impact on whether I connect with what I'm listening to, is if I can directly relate to something, either lyrically or musically. And like both of those things are usually missing with newer hip hop for me. And like, I guess there's a certain element that I'm just never in that mindset, but I think that hip hop's a really interesting thing, because it's almost like, even from like the gangster rap era or so and on, it's almost like a role playing genre, like almost like quest metal.
Yeah.
Like they're like stories told about characters, or almost from first person sometimes, of people that they aren't really, like, and they're going on some giant urban quest to go kill somebody or do something. And so like in that way, I can really respect it as a genre, where it's like, it's this, thing, but like when there's that kind of substance. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing, but it's harder for me to connect to.
All right. I'm going to try a new game here. I want to see if I can work this in as a segment on the show. So you're going to be the guinea pig for this segment. It's going to be named Alexa Skip. It's if you're at a party and this band's music comes on behind you, I'm going to throw out 5 artists, and your only answer is listen or Alexa Skip.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to try this. Here we go. First band, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Alexis Skip.
Megadeth.
Listen.
Journey.
Listen.
Oh. John Denver.
Listen.
That was a strained listen.
I mean, everybody loves a little Denver every now and then. I don't hate him.
Okay. All right. Pearl Jam.
Alexis Skip.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, that worked out.
Yeah, it's weird. I am one of those rare people that like grunge completely lost on me. I hate all grunge bands almost. I never got into Nirvana. I never got into Pearl Jam. Never got into Alice in Chains. I never got into any of that shit. And I don't hate it. I mean, that's a I've tried a lot too. Like, and I have a really open mind. I mean, you probably guess from what I've talked, I have a really open mind about music, and I've really I've endeavored to like, all right, what's the deal with this? So I got to check this out. But I have never really been able to get into the grunge era bands. Like I understand the importance of what that did to modern music and what it injected into the consciousness of what was going on at the time and how it flipped everything on its head, and that was fucking awesome. But like, I can't actually get into the music. I don't know why.
No, I see. I like that explanation because I use that explanation constantly. Like for me, one of my things is, and I'm one of those people that if it's so massive and it's so huge, and maybe there's something I'm not, getting about it. Like for me, and you might want to reach through and slap me through the computer. For me, it's the Beatles.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
how massive and big they are. And I've sat down and I'm like, listen, everybody's answer is the Beatles. And I'm like, my entire life, yes, I've heard the Beatles. Maybe I just not listening to it correctly. And then I listen and I'll sit down and like I'll focus. Like I drive a lot for a living. I travel a lot, and I'll be like, all right, so for the next 5 hours, I'm only listening to the Beatles, and
Yeah.
maybe it'll hit. And I understand why they are what they are, but
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. And you're entitled to that opinion. It's wrong, but that's okay. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, I get it. I mean, I think it's just, yeah, I mean, I could go on
Yeah,
forever about
I mean, you said it earlier too. Like Nirvana, for me, Nirvana came out in the height of my teen years. Like I'm in high school when Nirvana breaks, and even when they broke, and even now when I'm older, I'm like, I still don't get it. It wasn't good then, and I don't. And I'll say to people like, "Oh, dude, Nirvana was fucking great." I'm like, and I'll just say, "When's the last time you listened to a Nirvana song?"
Yeah.
Because it's not a band that you're just going to go grab their album and put on again. Like yes, they were huge, they were important, but it's not that type of music that was, I don't think, sustainable or has the longevity to it when you go back and listen to it like other bands do.
Yep. I totally agree. And like, they did it, like I said, they did a lot for music, but as far as like just the attitude of the industry, but as far as like the actual music itself, it's like, it's hard to say that stuff will live forever. It's the attitude. It's really not the music itself.
Yeah, it was the image and attitude of that style. I mean, they weren't Led Zeppelin, where you can listen to Led Zeppelin whenever, however old you are, and kind of fucking understand it.
Totally. Exactly.
All right. Well, let's get off of shitting on music.
Okay. Sounds good.
This is a Music Lovers podcast, but
life, man.
Yes, so can I. What was the last song you cried to, if you will admit to crying to music at any point?
Oh man, that's a tough one. It's been a while. Shit, I'd have to really think about that one. A song I cried to. I don't know, man. I don't often cry to music. I'd probably say, I don't know. I can't remember.
All right. You're entitled to play it cool on the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would totally admit that I cried. But I can't remember. I really can't.
All right. The world's going to end in 5 minutes. Meteor's going to come crash into the earth, and you have to listen to one song before it all goes away. What song are you listening to?
Oh my God, man. That's such a hard question. Jesus. Don't do that to me. Oh shit. Last song I could listen to before I die, and everyone else dies too.
See, I asked questions that were easy for me to pop in my head with an answer, and these do stump people a lot. Maybe I'm just thought about mortality way too much.
I have a hard time with that one because there's so many great songs and like I want to make sure it's a good one, like.
Well, what popped into your head right away if you're listening to a song?
I'd probably say, I can't remember the name of the song. It's a song by Richard Hawley. If you ever listened to him, it's Hawley. He's a British kind of croonery songwriter guy. It's called "As the Dawn Breaks" is the name of the song, and that would be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, great name to it.
Yeah, I highly recommend his stuff if you haven't checked it out. It's really great. One album in particular has that song on it called True Love's Gutter. Excellent record.
I just wrote it down.
Yeah. His other stuff's great too. Just check all of the stuff out because it's awesome.
I'm on it. Now, when it comes to moving forward with Beyond the Lamplight and releasing songs, do you have things in the works for more releases to come out, or like what are you looking forward to for the band and moving forward?
Yeah, we do actually. This Friday, I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but it's Friday the 13th of January. We have a new single coming out. It's our theme song. The song is called Beyond the Lamplight. And it'll be coming out this Friday. And then we have another single coming out a month after that, I think, or so. And then we're dropping a full length album in March, at the end of March.
Awesome.
March.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we got a whole full length in the wings. We're just kind of rolling things out slowly. We want to, start getting active, a lot more active this year, and hopefully see us out on the road a lot more touring and getting out there and playing. So, and then we'll have a full length under our belt to tour on. So, pretty stoked. We're pretty happy with the record. So,
well, it's awesome. I'm stoked too now that something to look forward to. I love having something to look forward to that gets me through days and gives me a countdown to something. Just like doing this interview after I reached out, like counting down the times and that I have an opportunity to listen or talk about music. So
yeah, hell yeah, man. That's what life's about.
Yeah, it really is. I don't want to keep you very long. I know we had some things pop up in the middle of this episode. So, before we move on to our last segment of the show, I'd love for you to take this opportunity to tell the fans how to find everything that you guys do and how to get that new album when it comes out in March, all your little handles and shit like that.
I mean, it's all the usual suspects. I mean, you can find us follow us on, Instagram and all that stuff. And it's just a physical release. Well, I mean, just not physical, excuse me, just online. I think at this point we have vinyl on the way. This is all through Flail Records. You can go to the Flail Records website and pick up any of the merch. We have vinyl and shirts and stuff on there. And then hopefully we'll have the vinyl soon for the new album once it drops. Things are still kind of crazy, COVID crazy with the vinyl industry right now. So it may be a little bit behind schedule, but we're going to try to make it happen as soon as we can. And then, you can find all of our music on Spotify, all the streaming services, Apple Music, anything you listen to your music on.
Yeah, and I'm tired of saying it, people, for everybody listening, but you're supposed to help a band is if you have that extra dollar or two, maybe go to Bandcamp, spend your dollar, or they're not going to get paid through Spotify, and if they do get paid, it's hard to split an 11-cent check with a band.
I would urge people to go and buy the record if they can. That would be lovely. But just listening to it helps greatly too. Where we want to get in as many ears as we possibly can. That's the most important part. So.
Well, hopefully today we'll get you in some more ears because we believe you guys are worth it and we appreciate the music you're putting out. So
hell yeah, thank you.
So we're in our final segment. We've covered a lot of music today. So this is where we look for 3 things that you're listening to right now that you'd like to share with people to check out.
Oh, okay. 3 things I'm listening to right now. I just recently found out about a guy named Jacob Jeffries, who's it's kind of like sunshiny California indie pop ish kind of stuff, but like it's really good and his songwriting's great changes and like melodicism in it. His latest album, it's not brand new, but his latest album is really great. I've been listening to that album a lot.
Cool.
Another one I've been checking out is the new Arctic Monkeys record. It's interesting. I do like it. I like that creamy. I don't know if you've listened to it or are a fan of those guys at all.
I have listened to it, and
Yeah, and that kind of creamy throwback thing is cool. Kind of, it sounds more like his like Last Shadow Puppets, like his other band,
Yeah.
more than Arctic Monkeys, to be honest. But I dig it. I think it's kind of cool. It's like watching a movie in the '70s, essentially.
It's
It's
a good way
like,
to put it.
yeah, it's like it's weird because it's like again, it's like a role play album. It doesn't sound like it's any real experiences. It sounds like you're just watching a move, something that somebody made up, which it's cool. Or listening to. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing I've been digging on. Oh, I'm a big fan of like instrumentalist, like metal kind of stuff, like progressive
Yeah.
metal. Um, and there's this Turkish artist named David Maxim Michik is his name, and he just released a new record that is excellent. And he's unlike some of the other metal dudes where it's less like a showcase, more like a musical journey. And it's not like crazy, look at me, look at how technical everything is. It's like this incredible immersive experience to listen to his albums. And it's excellent. It's called Below 4 is the name of the record. And it's awesome. But yeah, those are three things that I've been listening to lately.
Awesome. I'm going to check that David Maxim thing out tonight.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Awesome. Well, my three for this week. My first one is a band called the Ballroom Thieves. They're I'd say indie folk pop band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. Their latest album is called Clouds. Really good. Check that out.
Nice.
Number two is Hutch Harris. He has an album called Suck Up All the Oxygen. If anybody remembers the former post pop punk indie band called the Thermals, Hutch was the lead singer and main songwriter for that band.
They're from Portland.
Yeah.
We've played some shows with them before.
All right. Yeah. Well, Hutch is, he's got his own thing going on now. Really good. If you want to check it out. And then the last band is a band called Louser, Louser. They're a Canadian, I want to say alt rock, post hardcore type of band. They just dropped a new single called Stain, and I can't get enough of it right now.
Nice. It looks like their full record just came out. Oh no, it's about to come out. Cool. I will check that out. I'm looking at all these as you speak right now. I'm like a music fiend. Like anything that anybody recommends to me, I always go and listen to it.
Yeah, and listen, and that's why I try to say, and people out there, if you're listening to this, if you follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99, and we put out these weekly threes constantly, and you're gonna find something you're gonna like. There's probably gonna be some stuff that you can't fucking stand, but it doesn't matter. It could lead to something else that you may like. So, trying to find new music, that's what we're trying to do here, and we appreciate the artists sharing their tastes too. So
I think it's really important to like continually search out music and continue to do it as you grow older. As I found a lot of things, like I don't know about you, but like my parents, like my dad was really into music, and both my parents really were. But at a certain point, they just kind of stopped looking for new music or anything. It's like, and they just kind of hung out in their safe space for the rest of their life. It's like, that's insane to me. Like I couldn't live like that. And so like, I don't know, for me, it's like always been so important to continually look for new music, because it's just, you'll always find new artists that are doing something that is incredible.
Yeah. And you just and if you could see me right now, I am filled with goosebumps because you brought up that whole thing about parents not looking for new music and finding something. But I remember one day my mom was at my house and I was listening to Dawes. I had Dawes on in the background, and
Dawes is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah. And my mom's like, she goes, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh, it's Dawes." And she's like, "I really like this. Can you make me a copy of this?" And my mom's 76 years old, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And like same thing happened where there were like Alabama Shakes, and I'm like, I get why you like it, because if you go back to like the stylings and music that they grew up, I'm like, I get it, but that is the moment where when you just said they stopped looking for music. All my mom listened to was doo-wop. My dad was folk and doo-wop and country. But it's like, I don't remember them saying that they found something new. And, I'm in my mid 40s and all I do is search out new music. That's how I found you guys,
Exactly. Yep.
It gets me through life.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Dawes about your parents because the same thing happened with my parents. They were like, "This is really good.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Jackson Brown. I love this." Like, oh yeah, there you go. Like I knew,
Yeah,
like,
and those are the bands too that it's amazing to me. Like I saw them at Maxwell's in Hoboken, New Jersey, 125 cap room. Like,
yeah,
and
uh-huh.
and they're who they are. I'm like, fuck, man. Like I guess I gotta soak all that shit in. But
yeah, totally.
well, yeah. So I don't want to keep you any longer. I just want to again say thank you for what it is you do in giving us your music to listen to. I mean, it's important, and I appreciate the artistry that goes behind it and the hard work that you put into it to make it as good as it is for us to love. So I just want to say thank you, Ian, so much for that.
Well, you're welcome, and I'll continue to do it because I can't help myself because I'm insane, and if I don't play music, then I probably will actually explode.
Well, keep playing music then, because we need you.
I will.
But everybody, you know what time it is. It's time to go out, listen to Beyond the Lamplight, and have a great fucking time.
Woo.
Set you free. He's your true redeemer, baby. Be who you're meant to be. Small town big dreamer, here to set you free. He's your true redeemer, baby. Be who you're meant to be. The one, the
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.